I never thought a single declined credit card could unravel a marriage, a career, and a life built on blind trust. But there I was, in that overpriced steakhouse in Midtown, watching the waiter's polite smile crack as my husband's Amex sputtered out its final rejection beep. "Sophia,
Babe.
just cover it this once," he whispered, his eyes darting like a cornered animal. And, in that moment, I did, forking over my own card without a word. Because that's what you do when love feels like the only currency left. Months later, in the sterile glow of my probation officer's office, my new boss leaned across the desk and said 6 words that shattered the illusion. "You took the fall for him,
Didn't you?
It wasn't a question. It was the key turning in the lock of a cage I'd built myself. And suddenly, the revenge I'd buried under layers of survival clawed its way to the surface. Hungry and unyielding. I was Sophia Hale then, not the ghost of her I'd become. 32. Ambitious. The kind of woman who networked at rooftop bars and closed deals before breakfast. New York chewed you up if you let it. But I'd learned to bite back. My husband, Ethan, was the charm to my steel, a venture capitalist with a smile that disarmed boardrooms and a knack for turning startups into gold mines. We met at a gala for emerging tech, him in a tux that fit like a second skin, me in a red dress that screamed, "Don't underestimate me." He proposed 6 months later on the Brooklyn Bridge at sunset, and I said yes because he made the chaos feel conquerable. Our life was a glossy Instagram reel, penthouse in Chelsea, weekends in the Hamptons, his firm, Hale Ventures, my name on the door as a silent tribute, poised to go public. I handled the ops, the quiet engine room where deals were vetted and risks mitigated. Ethan was the face, the rainmaker. We were unbreakable, or so I thought, until that dinner 6 months ago. It was our anniversary, the kind where reservations cost more than most people's rent. The steakhouse was all dark wood and candlelight, the sort of place where power players sealed fates over fillets. Ethan was late, as always, sweeping in with apologies and that boyish grin. "Traffic from the merger meeting," he said,
Kissing my cheek.
The meal blurred into laughter and wine, his tales of outmaneuvering competitors, my updates on streamlining the portfolio. Then the check arrived, a leather folder slapped down like an afterthought. He pulled out his card, the black one with unlimited everything, and slid it over. The waiter returned minutes later, face neutral, but eyes apologetic. "I'm sorry, sir. It was declined." The table went still. Ethan's laugh was forced, a bark that echoed too loud. "Must be a glitch." "Run it again." Another decline. Sweat beaded on his forehead, and he fumbled for his wallet, pulling out cash, crumpled 20s that barely covered the tax. "Sophia," he murmured, leaning close, his breath hot with Cabernet.
Just handle it?
"I'll square up tomorrow." I nodded,
Numb.
and handed over my card. The transaction cleared with a soft chime, but something inside me fractured. As we left, his arm around my waist felt like a chain, not a comfort. He promised reimbursement, but the next day was excuses, banks lagging on the transfer. A week later, silence. I let it slide, because what was $400 in the grand scheme? Love covers a multitude of sins, right? But sins have a way of compounding. 2 weeks after, the auditors descended on Hale Ventures like locusts. Ethan had been cooking the books, siphoning funds from client accounts to prop up a failing AI startup he was secretly invested in. Not small potatoes, we're talking 7 figures. the kind that lands you in federal court. The paper trail led straight to me. Forged signatures on wire transfers, emails from my account authorizing the moves. I'd signed off on nothing, but my access logs showed otherwise. Someone had cloned my credentials, routed everything through my workstation. The FBI raid hit at dawn. Agents in windbreakers swarmed our penthouse, flipping cushions and seizing laptops. Ethan was out of town, his phone going straight to voicemail. I was cuffed in my silk robe, read my rights in the hallway as neighbors gawked from cracked doors. Sophia Hale, you're under arrest for wire fraud and embezzlement. The words echoed like a bad dream, but the orange jumpsuit in holding made it real. Prison was Rikers, a concrete hell where time stretched like taffy. 90 days pre-trial. Then a plea deal. 2 years at Bedford Hills, upstate. Because my lawyer, overworked and underpaid, convinced me Ethan's testimony would bury me otherwise. He did testify. My husband, in a crisp suit on the stand, eyes downcast as he reluctantly detailed how I'd gone rogue, desperate for a bigger stake in the firm. She changed after the promotion, he said, voice cracking for the cameras. Greed. It twists people. The jury bought it. White-collar crimes always play to the sympathy of the overlooked. I got 24 months, eligible for parole in 12. Ethan sold the story to the tabloids. Devastated husband speaks out. He kept the penthouse. The firm, rebranded as Voss Capital, his middle name, and emerged as the Phoenix, wiser, more cautious. Interviews painted him as the victim, blindsided by his ambitious wife. I rotted in a 6x8 cell, reading clippings smuggled in by a sympathetic guard. Letters from him dried up after the first month. I still love you. Soft. This is for the best. Bullshit. It was for his best. Parole came after 11 months. A bureaucratic miracle greased by good behavior and a pro bono lawyer sniffing a civil suit. I emerged into a world that had moved on. COVID scars fading. Crypto booms and busts. But my name's synonymous with fallen exec. No one hires a fraudster. Not even for coffee runs. I couch-surfed with a distant cousin in Queens. Pounding pavement for gigs, white-racing, freelance bookkeeping under aliases. The rage simmered. A low boil. Until that day in the temp agency's office. My new boss, well, temporary, was Marlene. A no-nonsense Latina in her 50s running a staffing firm for Wall Street rejects. She scanned my resume, the gaps glaring like neon. Embezzlement. Huh? Bold to list it. I shrugged, throat tight. Hiding it gets you fired faster. She leaned back, sizing me up. Then those 6 words. You took the fall for him, didn't you? I froze, the room tilting. How? She tapped a folder. Old colleague. Ethan's not as clean as he thinks. Word gets around. Marlene became my unlikely confessor. Over stale coffee in her back office. The story spilled. The declined card. The forged docs. Ethan's side hustle with the AI flop, a Russian shell company he'd funneled cash to, laundering it through our accounts. I'd approved the vendor contracts blind, trusting his judgment. But the auditors? He'd tipped them anonymously, planting the evidence to shift blame. Classic misdirection, Marlene said, shaking her head. Guy's a snake in khakis. She hooked me up with a job, data entry at a mid-tier consulting firm in Flatiron. Low profile. Decent pay. Enough to rent a studio in Bushwick. Stock a fridge. Start breathing again. But revenge isn't a light switch, it's a slow fuse. Nights, I'd scroll Ethan's LinkedIn. Voss Capital thriving. Him posing with models at galas. Remarried whispers in the trades. His new wife, Lila Voss. Née Harrington. A socialite half his age with daddy's real estate money. Wedding in the Hamptons. Photos dripping privilege. The first move was reconnaissance. I created burners. Fake profiles on LinkedIn. Instagram ghosts. Infiltrated his circle as Sarah Klein, a junior analyst eager to learn. Flattery opened doors, comments on posts, DMs to his execs.
Piece by piece.
The underbelly emerged. Voss wasn't clean. Ethan was knee-deep in insider trading, tipping off buddies on merger intel. Lila? Not just arm candy. She was the brains. A former SEC paralegal who'd flipped to the dark side, coaching him on loopholes. Their prenup? Ironclad. But buried clauses funneled her assets if things soured. I needed leverage. Marlene connected me to a hacker buddy, ex-NSA, working freelance in the shadows of Brooklyn. Cost me 6 months' rent, but he delivered encrypted emails, offshore accounts, voice memos of Ethan and Lila plotting a pump and dump on a biotech stock. Gold. But revenge isn't a data dump, it's personal. I wanted him to feel the isolation, the slow bleed of trust. Step 2, the leak. Not to the feds, too clean,
Too quick.
to his world. I fed snippets to a financial blogger. Anonymous sources dripping poison. Whispers spread. Voss Insider says Ethan's cooking books again. Clients pulled back. Stock dipped. He lashed out on Twitter, X, rants about haters and exes.
Cute.
I replied from Sarah's account. Heard the real story. Declined cards and desperate wives. It went viral in niche circles. Memes of bouncing checks.
He knew.
A late-night call from a block number. Sophia? That you? His voice. Whiskey slurred.
Pleading.
I did it for us. The firm was sinking. You understand, right? I hung up, heart pounding, but the thrill was electric. This was power, raw and reclaimed. Lila was the wild card. I tailed her to yoga in Soho, bumped into her at a juice bar.
Your.
Sarah? Ethan's mentioned you. Her smile was Botox tight, eyes appraising. We chatted careers, city life. She was sharper than him, probing. Ever been burned by a man? I laughed. Who hasn't? Planted the seed, doubts about his fidelity. Old flames resurfacing. The tension built like a storm front. Invites trickled in, networking events where I'd lurk. Sarah in ill-fitting blazers. Ethan cornered me once at a rooftop mixer. Breath sour. What do you want?
Money?
A fresh start. I met his gaze. Steel for steel. I want you to remember that dinner. Every time your card beeps. He paled, muttered threats. But Lila watched from across the crowd, calculating. That's when the twist hit, not mine. Theirs. A courier delivered a package to my studio. Photos of me and the hacker. Timestamps from our meet. A note in Lila's script. We know, Sarah. Walk away, or we bury you deeper. They'd flipped the board. Outmaneuvered. Ethan hadn't called alone. They'd traced him to me. Scheming duo. Indeed, her SEC savvy sniffing digital trails, his charm masking the knife. Panic clawed, but rage sharpened it. No running this time. I escalated. Full dossier to the Journal. Timed for their anniversary puff piece. Voss Capital. Empire built on lies. Front page. Ethan's face twisted in denial. SEC probe launched. Assets frozen. Lila lawyered up. Filing for divorce. Prenup activated. Her walking with millions. He spiraled. Public meltdowns. Bar fights splashed on TMZ. The climax brewed in a warehouse loft in Red Hook. Neutral ground for settlement talks. Neutral my ass, his PI tailed me there. But I came armed with recordings, not guns. Ethan arrived alone. Haggard. Stubble shadowing his jaw. Soft.
Please.
End this. Lila burst in minutes later. Heels clicking like gunshots. You bitch, she hissed. But her eyes were wild. Betrayed not by me, but him. He told me you were the leak. Said we'd frame you again. The air thickened. Accusations flying. Ethan stammered. Baby. She slapped him. Hard. The crack echoing. You used me like you used her. I watched. The Avenger turned spectator. As their empire crumbled in real time. But the real gut punch, Lila's confession, sobbed out in fury. The original fraud? It was me. I pushed the AI deal, hid the losses in her name. He took the blame to protect me until he didn't. My world inverted. I'd borne the fall not just for him, but her, a secret triple cross. Ethan had discovered her scheme post-marriage, covered it to keep the cash flow, then sacrificed me when heat came. Betrayal layered, like onion skin, peeling to reveal no heroes, just survivors clawing for air. I could walk, let them devour each other. Or finish it. Cops, I said, hitting record on my phone. Their pleas blurred into white noise. Sirens wailed distant, anonymous tip. My last play. As cuffs clicked on them both. Ethan locked eyes with me. Was it worth it? Soft. I didn't answer. Worth it? In a city that devours the weak. Survival's the only win. But the twist lingered. A barb in the gut. Walking out into the dawn. Badge in hand, Marlene's pull got me whistleblower status. A book deal pending. I felt the fracture. They destroyed me, but I'd become them. Scheming. Face-flipping. Decisions that blurred right and wrong. Happy ending? Tragic? You tell me. New York's lights flickered on. Indifferent. And I stepped into them. Card and wallet. Ready to pay my own way. The aftermath wasn't fireworks, it was fallout. Radioactive and slow-burning. I woke in my Bushwick studio to the buzz of my phone, reporters. Old colleagues. Even my cousin asking if I was okay. Okay? I'd toppled a kingdom, but the throne was ash. Marlene called first. Girl, you're trending. Sophia rising. Get a lawyer, now. Her laugh was gravelly. Triumphant. I booked Javier. A shark from the Bronx with a rep for white-collar warriors. First meeting. He slid a contract across the Formica table. Civil suit against Voss. Defamation. Emotional distress. We could bankrupt him. Bankrupt. The word hung. Tempting. But revenge has teeth. And they sink into you too. Ethan and Lila's arrests made national news. Power couple's double downfall, but bail was posted swift. Her daddy's checkbook. His slush fund remnants. They lawyered up. Countersuits flying. Harassment. Extortion. Sarah Klein's profiles vanished overnight. My temp gig paused pending investigation. Paranoia set in, shadows in alleys. Wrong numbers at 3 a.m. New York. The city that never sleeps. now felt like it watched me back. I dove into the dossier. Javier's team unearthing more rot. Ethan's MO. Wasn't new, college buddies ruined by his loans, a mentor iced out after a bad bet. Lila? Daughter of old money. But her SEC gig ended in a whisper quit. Insider tips to her ex. Hushed up with a settlement. They were magnets, drawing each other into escalating sins.
Me?
Collateral. The loyal fool who signed the prenup without reading the fine print. You're the stability, Ethan had said. Stability. Code for scapegoat. To cope, I ran Central Park at dawn, pounding pavement until lungs burned. There, amid joggers and dog walkers, I met Theo, barista/writer. All tattoos and earnest eyes. Rough night, he asked, handing over my black coffee with a foam heart. I snorted. Rough life. He didn't pry, just listened when I vented, vague enough to skirt legalese. Dates blurred into routine, dive bars in the East Village. His manuscript readings where I'd clap louder than anyone. You're fierce. Soft, he'd say, tracing my knuckles.
Fierce.
First time in years it felt like praise. Not warning. But trust is a muscle. Atrophied in me. When Theo asked about my ex, I dodged. Complicated. Truth. Ethan texted from a burner. Sporadic pleas morphing to threats. Drop the suit. Or Theo's next. How'd he know?
Pie. Probably.
I ghosted Theo for a week. Holing up with true crime pods and takeout. Marlene dragged me out. Isolation's the real prison. Fight smart. Not scared. The countersuit hearing was a circus. Downtown courthouse. Paparazzi swarming like flies. Ethan looked diminished. Ty askew. Lila absent. Holed up in the Hamptons. Under the weather. His lawyer, a silver fox with ivy drawl, painted me as vindictive harpy. MS. Hale seeks not justice, but destruction. My turn. Javier fed me lines, but I ad-libbed the hook. He let my card pay for our last meal as equals.
Now?
He can't even afford bail without her. Gasps rippled. The judge banged gavel. But the seed planted. Online. Forums lit up. Team Sophia versus. Forgive and forget. Post-hearing high crashed hard. Walking home. A black SUV idled curbside. Lila inside. Window cracked. We need to talk. Against every instinct. I slid in. Her perfume choked the air. Chanel no. 5 laced with desperation. He's ruining us both, she said. Voice brittle. The feds are digging. It'll drag you under too. Alliance? Absurd. But her eyes, haunted, stripped of Botox poise, mirrored mine. What if we flip him? Together. The offer dangled. Controversial as hell. Betray the betrayer. Share the spoils. I laughed. Bitter. You framed me first. She flinched. I didn't mean it escalated. He was going to expose me. I beat him to it. Layers upon layers. No bottom. We parted with numbers exchanged, just in case, but the seed took root. Was she playing me? Or cracking under pressure? Nights. I'd replay it. Theo's arms around me a temporary anchor. Whatever it is, you don't have to carry it alone. Sweet. But lies erode everything. Ethan struck next. Low and vicious. My cousin's eviction notice, rent hiked overnight by Harrington Properties. Lila's family empire. Coincidence. Javier growled.
No.
Retaliation.
Pure.
I moved to Theo's walk-up in Williamsburg. Boxes piled like barricades. There, in the clutter of his life, dog-eared Kerouacs, half-finished canvases, I confessed fragments, prison, the fall, the fire in my veins. He held me through sobs, whispering, "You're not broken.
Soft.
You're remade." Remade into what? The suit advanced. Discovery unearthed Ethan's therapy notes, narcissistic traits, impulse control issues. Lila deposed. Cool as ice, Sophia was always jealous. Ethan's success ate at her.
Lies.
But they stung, polarizing the court of public opinion. TikToks dissected us. Is she hero or villain? Comments flooded. Lock her up too, versus Queens of Revenge. I avoided mirrors. The woman staring back a stranger. Harder jaw. Shadowed eyes. Theo proposed a weekend escape. Cabin in the Catskills. His uncle's place. Unplug. Reset. I agreed. Craving normalcy. The drive upstate was therapy. Fall leaves blazing. Radio crooning Springsteen. Wood smoke and flannel.
His hand on my thigh.
For 2 days. No phones. Hikes to overlooks. Esmores by fire pit. Sex that felt like reclamation. I love you, he murmured post-climax. Stars wheeling overhead.
Love.
Terrifying. Exhilarating. I echoed it.
Tentative.
Reality intruded Monday. Voicemail from Lila. He's cutting a deal. Naming you as co-conspirator. Panic surged. Back in the city. Javier confirmed. Ethan flipping for leniency. Dragging me down to save skin. The fuse reignited. I met Lila at a neutral cafe in Tribeca. Public. Safe. She slid a USB. His confessions.
To me.
On tape. Use it.
Why?
Survival.
And.
Maybe guilt. Her mask slipped, revealing a woman hollowed by ambition's grind. The play. Anonymous drop to the DA. Timed for Ethan's plea hearing. Chaos ensued. Retractions. New charges. He raged in lockup.
Calls blocked.
Lila vanished to Europe. Indefinite sabbatical. Victory tasted like bile. I'd won. But at what cost? Theo noticed the distance. You're slipping away again. Truth. Revenge's grip tightened, squeezing out light. Then the mail, a letter. Ethan's scrawl.
Soft. You were right.
I was always the weak one. Forgive?
No.
But understand. Enclosed, divorce papers. Signed. Assets liquidated, my half.
Clean.
A white flag? Or trap? Javier scanned. Legit. The fracture deepened. Not mended. I burned the letter in Theo's sink. Flames dancing like doubts. Polarized. Yes, friends urged drop it. Marlene cheered escalation.
Me?
Adrift in gray. Decisions echoing. Pursue the remnants.
Or walk.
The city hummed indifferent. Subways rattling secrets. I chose the path least trod. Confrontation. One last time. Confrontation wasn't a bar brawl, it was chess. Endgame in a visitation room at MCC. The federal lockup downtown. Ethan looked spectral under fluorescence, orange jumpsuit swallowing his frame. Eyes sunken like bad investments. You came, he said, voice a rasp. No hello. No venom. Just fact. I sat. Glass partition cold between us. Phone to ear. Had to see the wreckage. He leaned forward. Chains clinking. Wreckage? That's rich. Coming from you. Bitterness flared, then ebbed. Lila's gone. Filed everything from Paris. Says I'm toxic. Schadenfreude twisted my gut, but his next words disarmed. She started it all.
The AI?
Her baby. A scam from day one. I covered because.
Love. I guess.
Stupid. Confession or con.
His eyes.
Once charming. Now pleaded raw. You think I wanted this? Losing you. The life. I gripped the receiver. Knuckles white. You chose. Every signature. Every lie. He nodded. Slow.
Yeah.
But you chose to, staying blind. Paying that bill. We were a team. Sophomore. Team. The word ignited the room. Team? I did your time. Voice cracked. Echoing. Guard glanced over.
He winced.
I know. And every day.
It eats me.
The deal? I pulled your name. DA has it on record, no co-con. Javier confirmed later, truth. Ethan hadn't flipped me. Lila's tape had neutered that. Gratitude warred with disgust. Why tell me? I asked. He shrugged, chains rattling. Closure? Or maybe. To say sorry ain't enough, but it's all I got. We sat in silence. The partition a metaphor for us, close, untouchable. Leaving. His voice trailed. Live better than this.
Soft.
For both of us. The walk to the subway blurred, tears hot. Wind sharp. Theo waited at home. Dinner steaming, pasta.
Candlelight.
How'd it go? I collapsed into him. Words tumbling. The meeting. The almost absolution. He listened. Then, sounds like you're free.
Free.
But freedom's a double-edged blade, slicing old wounds afresh. The suit settled out of court, Voss remnants liquidated. My cut a cool $1 million after fees. Javier high-fived. You're vindicated, kid. Vindicated? Checks cleared. But sleep evaded. Nightmares looped. The raid. Cell doors slamming. Ethan's grin morphing to skull. Therapy entered the chat, Dr. Ellis. A no BS shrink in Midtown with a Yankees mug and zero pity. Revenge gave purpose, she said in session 3. Now, what's the story without it? Theo proposed casual. Over brunch in Prospect Park. Marry me? Not for drama.
Just. Us.
Ring simple. Silver with a tiny diamond. Yes tumbled out. Genuine. Planning blurred joy. Venue hunt in the Finger Lakes. Invites to Marlene and a handful of survivors. Lila's shadow loomed. Tabloids speculated her return. Rumors of a tell-all. I ignored. Focusing on vows. Not vendettas. But shadows lengthen. A week before the wedding. Package arrives. No return address. Contents spilling like guts. A burner phone. Photos of Theo at his cafe. Timestamps recent. Text pings. Call off the suit's endgame. Or he pays. Lila. Back from exile. Claws out. Javier traced. Her Paris IP. But extradition?
Slim.
Panic dialed Theo. Stay inside. He laughed it off. Paranoid much? Until the brick through his window that night. Note attached. Sophia sins. Police report filed. But NYPD shrugged. Celebrity drama. Theo's eyes hardened. This ends now. Soft. Her or us. Ultimatum. Soft but steel. I confronted Lila via video, her in a Riviera villa, champagne flute in hand. Petty much, she drawled. Ethan's rotting because of you.
Lie.
He's rotting because of us. Her laugh tinkled. Join me. We expose him fully. Book. Netflix deal. Queens ruling the narrative. Temptation whispered. Power duo. Rewriting history. Controversial? Hell yes. Team up with the she-devil who jailed me? Forums would explode. But Theo's face, bruised from glass shards, anchored me. No, I said, ending call. Block. Delete. But she persisted. Emails to my therapist breached somehow. Tips to press about my unstable past. Polarization peaked. Sophia versus Lila trended. Camps forming. Feminist solidarity versus both guilty bitches.
DR.
Ellis urged boundaries. Revenge cycles. Break it. Easier preached. Marlene armed me. Ex-cop contact. Restraining order rushed. Wedding day dawned crisp. Lakeside chapel. Leaves gold. Theo in linen suit. Vows steady. Through the mess. You're my north. I echoed. Tears real. But mid-ceremony. Phone vibrates in clutch unknown. Congratulations. Enjoy while it lasts. Attached. Altered wedding photo. Nooses round our necks. Photoshop crude but chilling. Honeymoon cut short. Upstate cabin turned bunker. Theo's patience frayed. I can't live hunted. Fights escalated. Whispers of space. Lila's endgame crystallized. Isolation. My new cage. I struck back. Final play. Public statement to Variety. From victim to victor. My story with Ethan and Lila. No punches pulled. Betrayals laid bare. Her schemes spotlighted. SEC reopened her file. Interpol pinged. She cracked on a podcast. Live from Monaco. Sophia's no saint. We all played dirty. Audio leaked. Her admitting the frame. Ethan's cover. My complicity and ignorance. Backlash split. Some hailed me icon. Others opportunist. Theo softened. Proud of you. But the fracture? Permanent scar. Ethan wrote again. From prison. Heard about the wedding. Deserved. Postscript. Lila's coming for you. Watch the mirrors.
Cryptic.
I burned it, but unease lingered. Turns out, mirrors lie. Theo's late nights at the cafe?
Not shifts.
Lila's PI confirmed. He'd been feeding her intel. Small stuff, my routines. For cash to fund his book. It was innocent, he sobbed when confronted. She approached. Said it'd help expose her.
Lie.
Switchblade twist. My rock. Bought cheap. Divorce papers served by dawn. Heart shredded. But resolve forged. Alone again. But weaponized. Lila's next move? Irrelevant. I'd become the antagonist of my own tale, maneuvering shadows. Decisions debatable. City lights beckoned. Tense. Unyielding. Game on. Alone in the Williamsburg walk-up. Theo's ghosts in every corner. I rebuilt from rubble. First, purge. Boxes to thrift. His Kerouacs donated. Beds stripped bare. Marlene crashed the purge party. Men are trash. Wine's eternal. We laughed. Cried. Plotted. Her network hooked a gig. Consultant for a fintech startup in NoHo. Vetting ethics in code. Your superpower, she said. Sniffing snakes. Work was salvation. Days blurring in whiteboards and wireframes. Nights yoga and journals.
DR.
Ellis pushed deeper. Forgive yourself first. Self? The blind loyalist who'd paid that bill.
Sign those docs.
Forgiveness tasted foreign, but it stuck. Slow. Publicly, the variety piece exploded. Podcast invites. TEDx whispers. I demurred, not ready for the stage. Truth. Spotlight burned. Better wield it from shadows. Lila's silence unnerved more than screams. Weeks passed, then months, her Monaco exile a media black hole. Whispers. Breakdown. Daddy's intervention. Maybe jail in France for tax dodges.
Ethan?
Sentenced to 5 at Club Fed. Minimum security with golf privileges. Letter every quarter. Progress reports. AA meetings. Thinking of you. I read.
Didn't reply.
Closure's a myth. Echoes suffice. Theo faded to footnote. Awkward coffees. Mutual unfollows. His book? Self-pubbed drivel. Love in the crossfire. Thinly veiled takedown. Reviews panned. Exploitative. Schadenfreude. Brief. I dated cautiously. App swipes yielding flakes. A architect who ghosted post-third date. Too intense, he texted.
Fair.
Intensity was my brand now. The twist brewed subtle. Invitation to Ethan's parole hearing. 6 months out. Victim impact statement optional. The letter read. Optional?
Huh.
Javier advised. Go. Seal the narrative. Marlene. Go nuclear. I went alone. Subway to the hearing room in White Plains, sterile, like a DMV for souls. Ethan entered cuffed, but upright, muscle from yard time, eyes clearer. Testimony from warden, model inmate, remorse genuine. My turn. Microphone heavy, words cued. You broke me, Ethan. Not just the fall, the trust.
Pauses for effect.
Room still. But here's the controversy. I let you. Paid that bill. Turned blind eyes. We're both architects of this ruin. Gasp soft. Parole? Earn it outside. Not in letters. Judge nodded. Granted, supervised release. Therapy mandated. He met my gaze post-ruling. Gratitude? Defiance? Ambiguous. As always.
Outside.
Rain slick streets, cab to Grand Central. Momentum building. Back in the city. A call, unknown. Lila. Heard you played nice. Mistake. Voice smoke damaged. Euro accent faint. Meet me. One last deal. Location. Abandoned warehouse in Gowanus.
Brooklyn's underbelly.
Trap?
Probably.
But curiosity's a siren, fatal. Alluring. I armed smart. Javier's tracker in my coat. Voice recorder pinned. Warehouse loomed. Graffiti scars on brick. Hudson's stink wafting.
Inside.
Dust motes danced in flashlight beam. Lila waited center stage. Fur coat over jeans. Cigarette glowing. Sophia. Looking. Resilient. No warmth. Just appraisal. Ethan's out. He'll come for what's left. We circled verbal ring. Accusations parried. Secrets bartered. You loved him once, she said, exhaling smoke. Still do. Deflection. Love's a con. Like your prenup. She laughed.
Hollow. Touché.
But here's the real twist. The AI scam? Funded by your offshore account. Daddy Harrington's dummy corp. Bomb drop. I'd known fragments. Post-prison audits. But this? My signature. Buried deep. Why tell? I pressed. She stubbed the cig. Eyes feral. Because we're mirrors. You and I. Betrayed. Betraying. Join the syndicate, my network. Untraceable gigs. Rule the gray. Offer hung. Polarizing zenith. Embrace the dark. Or torch it. Sirens wailed distant. My tracker pinged Javier. Her face twisted. Always one step ahead. She bolted. Heels echoing into night. Cups swarmed empty. She vanished. Ghost in the machine. Javier's team traced. Private jet to Dubai. New alias.
Gone.
But not erased. The revelation? Dug up docs confirmed. My unwitting complicity. A decade-old favor to Ethan I'd forgotten. No full guilt.
But shades. Dr.
Ellis. Grays where growth lives. Ending? Debatable. I cashed the last check. Bought a brownstone in Bed-Stuy, roots. Not rent. Startup thrived. TEDx accepted. Talk titled The Cost of Blind Loyalty. Applause thundered. But backstage. Mirror showed scars. Laugh lines from Theo. Resolve from Ethan. Edge from Lila. Happy? In fragments, brunches with Marlene. Runs in the park. A tentative spark with a bookseller named Raj.
Bee geek.
Echoes linger. Nights when the declined beep haunts dreams. What ifs multiplying? Readers, you choose. Triumph over tragedy. Or cycle unbroken. New York's pulse quickens. Indifferent to verdicts. I step out. A card in pocket, mine limitless. The bills paid. But the story? Forever open. Twist final. Months later. A postcard from ENL. Dubai stamp. Photo of dunes. Message. Mirrors crack. But reflect true. Your shadows. Debate rages in me still. Who won? No one. Everyone. Fade to skyline. Tense. Eternal.